And Trevor Lawrence, they beat the Colts again, and emphatically, but we saw whatever changed. 36-19, the Colts win this one, and so they are the team. The Jags win this one. They are the ones who won 4 in a row. They are the ones who are 9-4. The Colts have lost 4 of 5, fallen to 8-5, and it looks like, and Coach Shane Steichen knows it, they may be without their quarterback for quite a while.
Daniel Jones has an Achilles. Could be season ending. I don't have the full details on it, but we'll get more clarity on that. A tough situation to be in when your starting quarterback goes down with an Achilles. I thought the guys did a good job in the locker room, though, rallying around Riley going into the second half. But anytime you lose a guy that puts in so much work and so much effort and is always there for his team and is showing up with a fibula injury and goes out there and freaking plays, just so much respect for him. Just so much respect.
That's on a lot of counts. He's been one of the really wonderful stories of the year. We don't know. Remember, this is only Sunday when we're doing this show. But an Achilles is Achilles, and 9 times out of 10, it's not great news. Him and Jonathan Taylor spurred the Colts on to one of the great stories of the first 2/3 of the season. Now it looks like new quarterback.
Yeah, but we don't know. But when you see the quarterback pounding the helmet on the ground, players know. He understands what's going on with his body, and you hate to see it for the Colts because, to your point, it's been one of the best stories of the football season. Now what do? Riley Leonard, rookie quarterback, I'm not sure what he can give you. You're going to have to lean on Jonathan Taylor. The running game has got to become a vital part of what they do. It's going to be tough for this team that started out with so many expectations, and everybody in Indianapolis, they went all in. Remember, they traded 2 picks for Sauce Gardner.
Right, who's hurt.
This was the year, and he's hurt. And so now the future of this team becomes a little bit muddled. But this season, they're going to have to rally around Jonathan Taylor and try to help Riley Leonard out.
Well, and Richardson is still hurt, a different injury, so we don't know where that's going to be. So it looks like Riley Leonard is it. And the Colts, who have had a great start, they finish with the following. At Seattle will be no picnic. Home to San Francisco will be no picnic. Home to the Jags. They have to win that. And then at Houston. In other words, every one of these teams, as we speak, a winning record. Rough.
It's going to be a tough way to finish for them. But this is professional football. You got to show up and you got to go out and play. And I think the thing that you look at, if you're the coach, you got to figure out what you do. The defense has got to step up. Buckner has been out also. They got a lot of guys out. They got to figure out who they can get healthy for this last stretch of the season.
Listen, the Jags started out great. They were forcing 3 turnovers or 4 turnovers every game, which they had 3 on this day. So they're back to what helped them get to a wonderful start. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Niners. Then a lull. But the Jags have won 4 in a row, and they're in first place. This team, they've won 4 in a row. They won 4 games all of last year.
And it's really simple. When you make the move to change the head coach, you're looking to help the quarterback. Liam Cohen has changed the way Trevor Lawrence is playing. We've been waiting on this generational talent to step up. You're starting to see it, Boom. ETN's starting to run the football. The offense looks explosive. Let's just see how far it can go, because we've seen what Liam Cohen can do with Baker Mayfield. Now he's got a more talented player in Trevor Lawrence, and you're starting to see the pieces come together. I'm excited to see where Trevor Lawrence and the Jags can go.
Kiss first place hello. Coach Tomlin. He and John Harbaugh coached against each other for the 39th time. Wow. Only George Halas against Curly Lambeau have coached against each other more, and the Steelers, by winning, they're back in first place by their lonesome. John Harbaugh, even though the Ravens weren't flagged a lot, there were a lot of calls that may be the wrong place at the wrong time.
I tell them basically we don't make any excuses. We don't point any fingers. That's not what we do here. We never have. We walk out here with our chest out and our chin up, and we look to the next game, and we are fighting still for everything that we want to accomplish, So it's tough. It's been a tough, challenging road for sure, but that's where we're at, and we will keep fighting, and we believe we can get it done.
We knew what was on the line today, and that's why you go do business with a guy like Aaron. For thick days like today, he's a been there, done that guy. But beyond the experience component of it, he relishes it. You can just tell. And that's the benefit of having a guy like AR.
The snow globe was out. The Bills circled the wagons and beat the very game. Bengals 39-34. Buffalo is 9-4 for Josh Allen.
you know, we stress with this team all the time is we don't blink, we don't panic. It doesn't matter if our defense is playing outstanding, we're not playing great, and vice versa for our offense. You know, we have supreme trust in each other that we're going to figure it out, we're going to play for each other, and that's all we try to do is just not ride the wave, stay as calm as possible, and find a way to figure it out.
You know, when I came back, I knew it was going to be an uphill battle. We were 3-8 at that point. That's certainly not a playoff caliber position to be in.
Well, the back-to-back picks, the turnovers obviously changed the game, but Josh Allen really changed. We've seen this a million times.
Yeah.
A lot of times, September, October, as his career went on, it's like, Josh, you don't need to be Superman 4 quarters, week 3, even though we'd like to win all the games. This is December in the snow trailing, and they're behind New England, who they play next week, 2 games. He put the cape on, and we saw it.
Behind New England, trailing in the game, the Bengals are playing well. He went in the phone booth and he put the cape on.
He did.
250 yards passing, 22 for 28. And if that wasn't enough, he rushed for another 78 yards, boom. He made play after play using his athleticism. We forget he's 6'5", 240 pounds. He was the best player in the National Football League today, and he had to be because James Cook didn't have his best game. He fumbled going into the end zone. He got the tight ends involved. He did not have a wide receiver have more than 3 targets. So this was a game that was about Josh Allen being athletic, being accurate, getting the football to the tight ends, and the defense doing just enough creating turnovers, boom. When he plays like this, in that building, in that weather, they're tough to beat.
These 2 teams, and now we're going to go to the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. They're very tough to beat. Even no one will want to play them, even if they're a wild card team, but we're getting ahead of ourselves, all right? Well, New England's playing up next week. They haven't lost since like 3 years ago. I'm kidding. Pittsburgh, I know the stats won't agree with it, and so they said, wait a minute, but Baltimore, they ran for 200 yards. But in the games last year in Baltimore, in December and in the playoffs, Derrick Henry and company ran for a combined about 450 in the games.
Yes.
Now, I know they had 200 again today, but we saw the big run by Mitchell. After allowing all those yards rushing to the Bills last week, they were much better in that department. I'm not saying they were the steel curtain. They were better and allowed them to stay in the lead the whole game, just about.
The defense played a lot better. They got a lot of those yards late in the game. The big run by Mitchell was in the second half. In the first half, they stopped the run, them being the Pittsburgh Steelers. This was a game from a Steelers standpoint. When you go sign Aaron Rodgers and you trade and sign DK Metcalf, this is what you envision. You envision Aaron Rodgers being athletic, throwing the football down the field. You envision big plays, over 130 yards for DK Metcalf, the explosiveness in the offense. They got big plays in Pittsburgh. This is an offense that hasn't got big plays.
Right.
Moment today, they got chunk plays. It wasn't 4 or 5 yards. It was 15, 20, 40 yards down the field. This is the guy they envision. Now, I know he's 42 years old. I don't know if he'll be able to get out of the bed tomorrow. I have no idea. However, if they can get something similar to this, then Pittsburgh has to feel really good because the defense between Highsmith, Herbig, and Watt, they can still close games out rushing the passer.
Metcalf, I think, had more yards. We didn't see him really here, but his number of 148, I think, was as much as he's had in the last 5 games combined.
Wow.
Something to that effect.
Wow.
Baltimore, they came all the way back from 1-5 to be 6-5. They've now lost 2 in a row, both in the division. They end up playing with Pittsburgh. Look, their only way in, I understand they're only one back. These teams have to win the division, these 2 teams. I don't see them wild carding it. So Baltimore, can you be 9-8, including a win over Pittsburgh at the end? Their margin for error is really, it's been since 1-5, really narrow. And we've said this for 4, 5, 6 weeks. Lamar hasn't looked like the Lamar that we all know.
He doesn't look right, Boom. Something is amiss. It just seems like, he's missing practice 1 day a week. We continue to talk about that. The explosiveness isn't there. There was a point on the last play of the game where we're used to him getting out of that sack. He got sacked. When's the last time somebody ran Lamar Jackson down? Like, that doesn't happen. And I understand the hamstring is maybe still lingering. This is a team, even though they are flawed, we expected more out of them. He normally runs out of that play. You just expected at this point in the season, they know what's on the line, for them to play better and be more consistent, and they're just not. And it's starting to frustrate John Harbaugh to the point where he'll never say it publicly, but you can see it in the body language and the actions on the sideline.
It just doesn't look the same.
Yeah, correct.
And that defense, of course, it's better now, but it hasn't looked the same. But you know who's looking defensively like the Ravens used to look? and beat the first-place, several-time defending division champ Tampa Bay Bucs 24-20. Carolina idle, tied now with the Bucs. They're at 7-6. Those two teams have yet to meet. They play Week 16 and Week 18, and Baker Mayfield knows it.
Sucks. Felt like we just gave it away or didn't make the plays to win it. Just too many mistakes, and conditions aren't an excuse because they had to play them too. So none of that matters. Just a matter of making the plays, and plays that guys have made a bunch of times. Just got to execute. 3
touchdowns. We gave you Puka's numbers. Corum, 128 yards running and rushing. So the Rams, 45-17. Like we said last week, it's a bump in the road. That road,
correct.
They got the pavers out there very, very quickly. Rams, next 2 games. Home Detroit, Thursday at Seattle.
Yeah.
Very interesting, but they back looking like, in this game, a team that 2 weeks ago was now they're the favorite for the Super Bowl.
Without a doubt. They look today like they, to your point, the best team in football. When they can run the football with the two-headed monster of Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, you got Puka Shell, you got Devontae Adams, you got Matthew Stafford, who right now, as we get down to the last month of the season, he's the MVP right now. Mm-hmm. It's between he and Drake May. And that defense, the way they play, if they do this consistently, Boom, they're tough to beat because they can beat you in a number of ways. You want to have a passing game, they got receivers, they can do it. You want to run the football, turn this into a slugfest, they can do that also. You want to make it a defensive game, hello, Jared versus Braden Fields, we can do that all. They have so many different ways they can beat you. Healthy, consistently, and make sure Stafford is there, they are going to be a tough out.
I thought he had a bad back. We haven't heard that or seen that.
Since August.
Wonderful to watch him.
Exactly.
Wonderful to watch him. It was wonderful to watch Baker Mayfield and the Bucs early because they played everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, they by the way, they went into Seattle and won. I mean, they played everybody. And yet they were winning games, and they had a depleted roster.
Yeah.
Now it's an easier schedule, but it's not so easy. What do you see?
I see a team that the injuries are starting to catch up a little bit. Mike Evans hadn't played in a while. Godwin has been in and out of lineup. Today they missed their left tackle, Tristan Wirfs, and you got a lot of pressure on Baker Mayfield from that front 4 of Cameron Jordan and Chase Young. And so the injuries are starting to play a role. Baker didn't play well, and then you start to hear some of the things that come out of there. Hey, guys, like everybody's got to be accountable. Everybody's got to make sure we do their job. When I start hearing those things, Boom, that's not a good sign. That means there's a little something going on. They need to get solved. They need to come together as a team. They're the most talented team in the NFC South.
Yes.
But right now, they're neck and neck with Carolina, and they got 2 games left with Carolina. I never would have thought that this division would come down to Carolina and the Bucs, and right now Carolina's playing better.
Yes.
And that's something we didn't think we were going to say this season.
Bucs have a short turnaround playing Atlanta on Thursday night.
At
they
home,
can get it going.
Must win.
They should, but they should have
won
today.
Yeah.
Pulled out so many. I mean, that was going for a tie. Who knows? They might have gone for 2. We'll never know. So the Packers, remember they had that tie early in the year with Dallas. So they're 9-3-1, winning 28-21. And the Bears, a rare loss for them after their 0-2 start. They fall to 9-4. So this game gave us what we thought. And, and the Lions are in the mix, too, obviously, after their win against Dallas. So when Jordan Love looks like that, I mean, there was a pick, there was a ball pick. It was like, what? When he looks like that, he looks as among the top quarterbacks in football. And he's had a good track record late in season.
And I think the difference is the confidence. And Matt LaFleur talked about, I got to get this passer playing with a lot of confidence. And he's got Christian Watson back. Christian Watson started the season, he wasn't playing. He's coming off the ACL. Now Christian Watson is healthy. And he adds a level of explosiveness to the offense. He's their fastest receiver. And they dial up big plays for him. And when you say Love is in the air, that means he's throwing that ball to Christian Watson. And we know what Josh Jacobs is going to do. This is one of the best defenses in football, even though today they gave up 21 points. That's the most they've given up in a minute. This team, Boom, if they continue just to make sure that the quarterback stays confident, they are among the few teams, I think there's 4 or 5, that can win the Super Bowl. the Rams, the Seahawks, the Packers, they are all capable of winning the Super Bowl. It's going to depend. Just like in hockey, if the goalie gets hot, which quarterback is going to get hot for these teams?
Well, look, Caleb has won games. I mean, interesting quote by Ben Johnson. You know, we don't. I know it doesn't look great, our passing games sometimes,
not at all.
in spite of it. But then he clarified, because when you win games, you don't have to explain.
Yeah.
They haven't lost much. They played with confidence in there. They ran for 138, which is a little more than the pack. But at 9-4, that's getting in the playoffs of the NFC. There are a lot of candidates. They're one of them.
There are a lot of candidates. I still feel really good about the Bears because of what you said. The passing game and the quarterback still hasn't gotten to the level that I think Ben Johnson hopes it gets to. They're running the ball. They can run the football on anybody. They ran the football for 266 on the Eagles. Today they ran the football for over 100 yards. They're physical up front. The defense has to continue to show up on the back end. But if the quarterback, and we put a lot of this on the quarterback, Caleb Williams is not as far along as I think that Ben Johnson wants him to be. And I think it's up to Ben to get him to a point where they can compete and make those plays. Because when you get in the playoffs, it's the margins. On the 4th and 1, can you make the throw a little longer for the touchdown? If it's short, it's picked, and the game is over. He can't do that come postseason.
Big picture, though, at 9-4, they'd sign up for that any day of the week.
They would have taken it within a heartbeat, Boom.
So every year we say, okay, which of these playoff teams, half of them aren't going to make it from the year before?